Oh, all right. Welcome everybody to the 5 secrets to a successful interview. I am so excited to have you here. This is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so I am going to share my screen so that we can get this. Oops, hold on. Gotta love technology, right? We love it. Okay. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, bear with me here. You guys are awesome. Okay. All right. Good morning and welcome to the 5 secrets of a successful interview. I am career coach Jen, and this is part of my inspired job search course. So I am just going to go ahead. Now I want to make sure that as we're going through this course that you guys are set and ready. I hope that you have received via email this morning from me the document that I suggested that you print off so that you can take some notes as we're going through this. I think it'll be helpful for you. If you didn't get it, it's not the end of the world. Just grab a notepad and take some notes for yourself as we're going along through this. So let's go ahead and jump into this. I've got some really great information that's going to make a difference for you. So here we go. So first of all, you know, when it comes to, I love this picture. Every time I see this image, I die because it just makes me feel like, you know what, you guys are stressed out there, and I totally get it when it comes to doing an interview. I get that it is just this stressful, crazy thing. Like, what am I doing, right? And the fear that happens because you're not having success with an interview. And so it's like this, like, I don't even want to get into it. I don't even want to go there, right? Like, oh, like, can somebody just hire me, please? Let's just not even do this. And so I understand that. And because of that, that's why I wanted to host this webinar today and to talk to you about 5 key things that you can do so that you will have a much more successful interview. And so who is this for? So this webinar specifically is for people who are currently doing a job search right now and want to, or doing interviews. Like, you have an interview right now, like something's coming up in the next week or 2 or something like that. This information will be wonderful for you. It's also really great for people who are planning to do a job change in 2019. So you might be feeling like, yeah, like, I'm getting that feeling. I'm definitely getting these promptings that I need to be looking for a new job. And so this information is going to be fantastic for you, maybe even more beneficial, because you'll have some more time to do the things that I'm going to share with you in today's webinar, so that when you do get those interviews later on, you're going to be off to the races and you're going to do great. So it applies for both groups of those people. If you are not going to be looking for a job like sometime in the next 12 months, I kind of don't think that this is really worth your time, just honestly speaking. So if you're doing a job search right now, or you're planning to at some time in the next year, then this totally works for you. If that's not your situation, you probably just want to drop off right now and you got an hour back of your life. So now let's get into it, right? So my goal from this class is for you to see the only way for you to have a successful interview is through proven job search techniques. And the only way for you to get proven job search techniques is to work with a seasoned expert. And so who is Jen Anderson, right? Who's this crazy chick that I'm here on this webinar with? So I have nearly 21 years of working with people dealing with career transitions, job search, wanting to grow their careers, etc. That is my thing. As career coach Jen, I am here to love and support you and to help you get that job that you want to get and keep that job that you want to keep, and also go for those promotions. And so over the last nearly 21 years, I can't believe I've been doing this for this long. It's kind of crazy because I'm thinking, wait, when did I get into my mid-40s? What happened? But I did, and it's all good, right? I've earned every one of these gray hairs that's growing in. And so, so working with just tens of thousands of people who are really struggling, it's been my profound honor to support them and to help them to have success with their job search. And that means a lot to me, because if your career is better, things are better at home. It just absolutely synchronizes. And so if I'm here to support you and help you with that, then I am so grateful for that, and grateful for people who have asked me to support and help them do that. And so, excuse me, got a little nasal drip going on there. Anyhow, so that's a little bit about me. And so married, kids, bonus kids, that's what I call my step kids, are my bonus kids. And California native, been in Utah for about 20 years, and just somebody who is absolutely living my life with God as my CEO, guiding and directing and helping me along the way. And I so appreciate the guidance. And that has really added to what I'm offering with my career coaching as well. So let's cruise into this. So the first secret I want to talk about is the personal brand. And you might be thinking, okay, Jen, I've heard this before. I've heard about personal brands before. And I know that you may have heard about it, but here's the deal, you guys. What I have noticed, and I have personally sat in interviews with countless people who were interviewing for a job. Okay, so this is when working in my role as a recruiter and helping companies find the right people, I would basically say, hey, listen, I will help you with this, but I want to sit in on the interview. I want to see what is it that you're talking to the candidates about, what's working, what's not working. And so I would use that information so that I could go and help the managers so that they would ask more thoughtful, more important questions, more relevant questions, all that stuff. Because I'll tell you what, you guys as job seekers, you think you're stressed out. The managers are stressed out too. They want to find the right person as well. So they would lovingly appreciate me, offer that I would come in and sit in and give them feedback about what they could do to improve their interviews. So as I'm sitting there, and I'd be there with my notepad and my pen, and I'd have my copy of the resume of the job seeker, and I would know what the job was all about, right? Because I've been recruiting and talking to candidates, and I would get them there into the company. And here's the deal. If you, you guys, this kills me. There's always that one question that the manager asks at the beginning of every interview. And we all know what this question is. And you may not think of it right this second, but as soon as I say it, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I know what Jen's talking about. That question is, so tell us a little bit about yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Like this question, right? This very simple question. And yet it causes so much stress. It's stressful for the manager. It's stressful for the job seeker. And yet we continue to ask this stupid question. But it's okay, because it's not so much a stupid question as not understanding why that question exists. So let me give you just a little bit of the history about what's going on and why that question exists, okay? So I want you to stop and think for a moment. If you were a manager and you were getting ready to, you've got your work day and you've got meetings, maybe you have calls with customers, or you're dealing with processing paperwork or whatever it is. You've just got all this sorts of stuff that you're dealing with, okay, all day long. Not to mention the 500 emails that come in, and then the random people that stop by and you know the thing, how they say, hey, you got a minute? You really don't have a minute, but you're going to give them a minute because you're a nice person. So that's what's going on in the mind of the work mind of a manager. And then meanwhile, back at the ranch, these managers often have a significant other. They have children either in their home or out of their home. They might have hobbies. They might have other responsibilities, like maybe they go to church. Maybe they like to do running for marathon training or whatever it is, right? Like people have so much stuff going on in their life. And so they have this busy, all these things bouncing from one thing to the next, okay? What they're not doing is they're not just sitting there all casual like and saying like, oh, yes, I have an interview. It's starting in an hour. Let me go ahead and go to the bathroom and let me freshen up. Let me make sure that I don't have any boogers in my nose and make sure that I don't have anything in my teeth, and I've got my fresh cup of water and everything's all perfect, and roses and rainbows and unicorns galloping through. That is not what is going through the mind of a manager. Right before they have an interview with you, they will have either been interviewing with somebody else, or they're coming from another meeting for business, or they just got off the phone with a crazy customer, or they've got a vendor who can't deliver when they said they were going to deliver, or, right? So if you know that, my friends, and that's a big secret to understanding why an interview can be so stressful. If you understand the mindset and the frame of mind that it is going through for a manager when you step into that room with them, it's going to help you to understand why they ask that ridiculous question. So, tell me a little bit about yourself. And then all of a sudden, you're off to the races. In your mind, you're going, are you kidding me? Holy cow, how do I answer the question? Do they want the review of my resume? Do they want me to tell them about my personal life? Do they want to know just about my business life? Do they want to know some key thing about me that's unique, something like, right? So you get like all of this crazy that's happening in your head. Well, here's the thing. However you answer that question is going to set the stage for the rest of the interview. Therefore, my number one secret, the very first secret I want to talk about, is personal brand. It is so important that you know what your personal brand is, because when they ask you that question, so tell us a little bit about yourself. So they're trying to get the jitters out, right? They just came from whatever 1,500 things are on their to-do list, okay? And after your interview, they have another 1,500 things to get done too, right? Okay, so they're just trying to get the jitters out. They're just trying to get grounded for a second. And they're getting situated and they've got their papers. And even if it's like 3 of them sitting there in a panel interview and they've got the stack of resumes and you're the 3rd person in a string of 7 interviews that they're going to have back to back, they're still going to say, so tell us a little bit about yourself. It's just a super casual, let's just get this conversation started kind of question. Okay, you guys? So that's what it's about. But it's important for you as a job seeker. You need to know what is your personal brand, because in that moment, you have the opportunity to set the stage for what you want them to think about you. Okay, so if you want them to know about your kids, you tell them about your kids. If you want them to know about your hobby of running marathons, you tell them about your hobby of running marathons. If you want them to know just kind of a high overarching whatever about your life overall, you tell them that, okay? So I am naturally a very, very, very curious person. And I remember years ago when I was looking for a job and I was I was getting ready for an interview, and it dawned on me because I was doing this job search and I was going through all these different interviews. And then I had also observed job seekers. I'm like, in that moment, when they ask me that question, what do you want to be, who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself or whatever, okay? I realize I want them to know, when it's all said and done, what is it that I want to be known for in my life? And here I am, this very eternally curious person. It's crazy. I can't help myself. I love to know about stuff, okay? It doesn't mean that I want to do everything. I'm not like a DIY person, which is do it yourself. I'm not that kind of person, but I just love to know and understand about things. So I love to inquire about stuff and talk to people. I'm very, very conversational that way. I'm very quick at building rapport, because I'll talk to people like, no, tell me more about this and what, and people love to share things about themselves, right? So when I would be asked that question, so Jen, tell us a little bit about yourself, I would say something like, you know what? When it's all said and done, when I get to the end of my life, people will probably know me as being curious. I cannot help myself. I love to know about different things. I'm a very curious person. I love to know how things work. I love to understand the systems and companies and how to make things get better and why things exist the way they exist and why don't we do things and why should we do, like all sorts of things like that. And so what I'm giving you, I'm just trying to give you kind of like a quick little way how that might sound when somebody asks you that question. Again, the question is, so tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm giving a high overarching understanding of this is who I am, that I'm a person who's curious. And by saying it like that, I'm also letting them know I'm going to have a lot of questions throughout this interview process. Okay? And that way they are getting ready for the questions. And it's not that I'm going to needle them. It's not like I'm going to paint them in the corner with questions, right? But they just know that I'm genuinely an interested person. And by saying that about yourself, by stating what your brand is and getting it out there, it helps people to go, oh, okay, that's a little bit about, and then they're going to typically ask a follow-up question. So what I used to get would be things like, so if you're so curious, we'll tell something that recently that you've been exploring or recently that you've learned about something, right? And so then it leads to that conversation where I can explain and I can show and I can showcase a way how my personal brand is showing up. Therein lies another part of the secret number one, is that if you're going to put something out there about what your personal brand is and what you're all about, you better be able to back it up, my friends. You need to live it, know it, love it, breathe it, everything about your brand, it better be showing up in all areas of your life so that you can very naturally talk about it. So that's secret number one, is know your personal brand. The other thing I want to talk to you about is doing research, in particular on LinkedIn. Here's the deal. I cannot tell you how many times I'd be sitting in interviews and I would find it, and I would tell job seekers ahead of time, make sure you do your research, make sure you understand about who these people are that you're going to be interviewing with. And people would show up and say, I just didn't have time. And I'm like, what? You didn't have time? Excuse me, are you kidding me? You didn't take some time to research the people that you're going to be interviewing with? Well, how do you know if you want to work with them? What do you know? Questions you're going to ask them, etc. So you got to do your research, particularly on LinkedIn. So here's one little nugget that I don't see people doing very much that I advise my clients to do. And it's a really fun way to find out some more information about someone, is go and read what their recommendations say about them and what recommendations they've written about other people. If you can read that information about someone, it gives you a huge insight about who they are, what they stand for, what's important to them. Because so, for example, if I write a recommendation about somebody, it's going to be something that is of interest to me, right? And you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? So like if you go and you go out to a restaurant and you go out to a restaurant with your spouse and your 3 kids, and the waiter there does an amazing job of taking care of your kids and corralling them and helping them to get what they need, and that they're quick with, you know, any kind of spilled water, cleaning it up, and they're quick with making sure that the kids have something to keep them distracted, like a coloring page and pencils, and they know how to clear stuff off of the table so that it's not in the way and in reach of children, right? I'm pretty convinced kids have elastic arms, right? Like Elastigirl on The Incredibles, they can just reach across from nowhere, grab that thing and bring it back to them. And it's like, how did you even reach across the table? You're a year and a half old, right? And so, so if you go and you have that kind of experience at a restaurant, and then afterwards you think, I am going to leave a fantastic recommendation because that waiter, that restaurant, they know what's going on to help moms and dads have a more successful eating experience with their children at their restaurant. And I will be back, and I want other people to know what a good job that they do. So that's important to you, right? Because you want to eat out with your spouse and with your kids. And so that's what's important to you. So let's compare that, or add that to now the LinkedIn recommendation stuff. So if on LinkedIn, if they're talking about, oh, this person does a fantastic job of staying on top of details, they're very organized, they're able to succinctly put together, let's say, memos or something like that, okay? Then what does it tell you about the person who wrote the recommendation? That's what they notice. That's what's important to them, okay? It's not just that that person's really great at it. That employee probably is great at other things as well. But by reading the recommendation that that person wrote, you're going to be able to see, aha, now I know what's important to that person who wrote the recommendation, is that things like paying attention to details, being organized, and succinctly communicating, right? So therefore, when you go into an interview, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be prepared to talk about things that exemplify you being organized, things that exemplify you being able to succinctly communicate, things that show how you're detail oriented, right? Because those are going to be hot buttons for that person. Likely they're going to be hot buttons. I mean, I'm not going to, bet my whole life on that is the only thing. That's the only way you're going to, you're going to catch their attention. But likely if they wrote a recommendation about it, they noticed it, number one. Number two, it was important enough to them to write about it and to go and take that time to write the recommendations. Time is super, super valuable, right? And so if they're willing to do that, pay attention to what they write and also see what people have said about them as well, because it's going to give you good insight about what makes them tick, how they show up as a manager or as a leader or whatever it is that they're doing in the company, okay? So do that for yourself. Do the research, you guys. If you land the interview, I mean, think of all the hard work it takes to actually get the interview. Oh, it just breaks my heart when I see people show up for an interview and they haven't done any really good research. It's like, oh, why even go? Why even have the interview? Okay, so do the research, you guys. It will make a huge difference. And that secret number 2 has totally changed. I have seen it change for people, what happens to them when they come into the interview, because they have a much better understanding of who that person is and they validate it. It's fantastic. So that's your second secret. Okay, your third secret is your desire. Is your desire. So I actually purposefully, I forgot that I left this blank here because I purposely wanted to leave it blank. So here's the thing. The reason why this is the third secret is that if you don't want to work at that company, why are you interviewing there? If you don't really care about their industry, why are you interviewing? If you don't really know anything about the company, other than you've heard the name and, okay, they got a website and these are their customers, but you don't really know anything about the company, why are you interviewing? How can you even begin to know for yourself whether or not it's a good fit if it doesn't even resonate with you, right? Like, how are you supposed to make sure that you can make sure that this opportunity is a good fit for your personal brand? Right? You've got to know deep inside your heart that I want this so badly. So what do you want? And that's why I left this blank here, okay, on purpose, because it's up to you, right? Like, what is it that you're really, 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 truly looking for? And I have had people say to me over the years, and keep in mind, I mean, you guys, I have worked with probably close to about 100,000 people in my nearly 21 years, okay? So this isn't just from a handful of conversations, all right? And I have had people say to me, I can't be specific. I can't say what I specifically want. I'm like, why not? Like, well, because that's not the way it works. Oh, I can't do that. I mean, how am I supposed to know if I can actually get that? I just need to have the job. And I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. So this is what I'm going to share with you. Same thing I share with people privately. Here's the deal. If you, as a job seeker, are super clear about what you desire for your career, where you want to see your career go, what type of work you want to work, like the actual doing, right? What type of environment is a good fit for you? And I'm not talking about environment like open floor, plan, right? Or small cubicles. I'm not talking about just like that, which that may very well be a big deal for you. I totally get that, okay? But if that's like whatever, I'm fine, I'm good. I can work in an open floor plan. It doesn't bother me. Or office is great. That doesn't bother me, whatever, right? Okay. But where are you going with your career, you guys? What is it that you want, right? Get that stuff written down. Write it down and be very, very clear about what you desire. So you, in your own mind, you would fill in this white space that I have here on the screen. Okay? Then it's going to help you to know when you're talking to people and you're doing the interviews or getting ready for the interviews, excuse me, that it's going to help you to know, okay, does this even match what it is that I'm looking for, right? Does it even match? And if it doesn't match, then why do the interview? Why waste your time? Why waste their time? And I've had people say, well, isn't it good to practice interviewing? Yeah, it is. But guys, there's other ways to practice interviewing that doesn't potentially totally hurt your reputation and doesn't waste valuable time. Remember I said at the beginning of this call how managers will ask that question, so tell us a little bit about yourself. And it's because they're so stinking busy. They have 500 things going on. They don't want to be there to help you practice an interview, okay? That's not what their job is. That's not what their role is in life. They've got a business. They've got employees who need to be loved on and taken care of. They've got customers who need to be taken care of and vendors who need to be dealt with, etc., right? So don't waste somebody's time. If you don't want to be there, don't do it, because here's the rest of the thing. Part of the reason why you're not having success in your interview is if you don't totally love the opportunity that's in front of you, your vibes, right? It's just that energy that comes off of us is going to be like, meh. Like, I'm just doing this because I got to do an interview. I got to find something different, right? And it's that air of desperation, that air of just kind of almost giving up, right? Or as I like to say, give a damn is broke, right? Like, I don't want you guys in that place. I don't want you out there representing yourself that way. Don't do that to yourself. You are a valuable person. That company, those managers, those people that you're interacting with at that potential employer, they are valuable too. So know for yourself what you desire. Okay? You need to be clear about what you desire, because then as you come into the interview, you're going to be so much more excited. Okay? I'm not talking about bouncing off the walls, right? I'm not talking about, doing backflips and stuff off the conference room table. I'm not talking about that, all right? But you're going to come across with more confidence and more interest and more desire. And that on the opposite end is going to be attractive, because I promise you, just like I said, I have sat in more interviews than I can possibly count. And I've talked to managers afterwards, and I'm like, okay, so the candidate has a skill set. They're in a salary range that works for you. They've got the amount of years that makes sense. Their recommendations check out. So what do you think? And if that candidate doesn't show a strong desire of wanting to be there, the manager's like, no, I'm just not feeling like they want to be here and be a part of this. So if we know that as job seekers, if we know that that's going to be a piece that manager is going to make a decision based off of, only go interview at places where you really want to be there. The desire will make a huge difference. And then secret number 4 is let's talk. So what I mean by that is try to get rid of the whole feeling that it's an interview, okay? Here's the deal. When you go work for somebody, hold on a second, I need to wet my whistle. When you go to work for somebody, are you interviewing? No, you're working with them, right? You are having conversations with them. You're collaborating with them. You're solving problems with them. You're doing things together. In addition to that, you're going to lunch. You're having team building opportunities. You're growing and developing, and you're going to be in each other's lives a lot of hours, right? So if you treat the interview such as that they're going to have a list of questions and then you have to answer those questions, okay? That's it? That's all you're going for? It is not going to be a successful interview, you guys. It will not. Yes, of course. Okay, if you're a software developer and it's a position where it's a coding position, yeah, you better get ready to go jump up on the dry erase board and be able to write out some code, okay? Or to be able to talk through your logic on how you arrive at certain outcomes. Okay, or if you're a salesperson, to be able to talk about how you go about building relationships with past customers that have led to you hitting some kind of sales record or whatever, right? Okay, I get that. Yes, you need to be ready to talk about your skill set. Undoubtedly, you got to have that, right? But what is more important is having that ability to have a conversation. So if you're sitting there and you're just like a deer caught in the headlights, and you're just kind of like a robot answering your questions, and you got your hands clasped in there in your lap, you guys, that is not attractive. That is not of interest to the person who wants to hire you. So you need to practice your conversational skills, okay? And now I know right now, guaranteed that there's somebody on this webinar right now who's like, Jen, I'm an introvert. I can't talk to people. It stresses me out, and I have heart palpitations, and I'm freaking out, and I can't do it. I can't do it. Here's the thing, you guys. I'm what's referred to as an ambivert, which means I'm a combination of extrovert as well as introvert. And I know when I need to be extroverted, and I know when it's okay for me to be introverted. And I share this with you because I have been an introvert a lot of my life. I will never forget when my best friend Sharon, we've known each other for I think we've been friends for 32 years. Oh my gosh, again, how did I get into my mid-40s? Okay, we met each other in 7th grade in foods class, and we became great friends, especially through high school, and still to this day, she's one of my very best friends. And I remember it was our junior year in English class, and Sharon was sitting in front of me, and she turned around and she said to me, raise your hand. You know the answer. And she knew that I was getting docked points because I refused to raise my hand. She knew it. And that's one of the things that our teacher graded us on, was how much we participated in the group conversation. So we'd have to read an essay, for example, or read a book or something, and a couple chapters in a book, and then we would talk about it, right? And so that's how we were partially graded. So I share that because I was so mortified, even though I knew the information, I knew the answers. This is in my classroom, right? There's 20, 30 other kids or something in the classroom, and I wouldn't even raise my hand to say something. And she said, turn around, or she would turn around to say something. So I raised my hand and I made a comment, and my teacher said, thank you. And then that led to another comment, etc. And I realized, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to combust. I'm going to be okay. So I learned situationally when to be extroverted, okay? And now to this day, I've absolutely grown and developed, and my platform is very much, hey, listen, it's your career. Own your career. You can do this. And if I can go from being that very shy, embarrassed kid, and it went all the way into college before I even started waking up, and even through college, I started growing and developing and realizing, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm a reasonable person here. I got good stuff to say. So little by little, you can get there. So you've got to practice having conversations outside of the interview so that you're not just sitting there looking like a robot waiting to respond, and not having a smile on your face or whatever. You guys, don't do that to yourself. So I love this picture that I've got here on the screen where this guy's leaning in, he's got his hands out, right? So good hand gestures, right? And that is such a big deal. It makes a difference when you turn it into a conversation and you get rid of this whole thing that it's supposed to be. They ask you a question, you answer. Ask question, answer. Ask question, answer. Ask question, answer. No. Plus, and it also happens. It gets to the end of that, and they say, "So, do you have any questions for us?" Okay. And have you done your research? Do you have interest in them? Right? Are you aware of who they are? Do you have thoughts and insights and questions about the industry? Maybe you've done some research on their competitors and you're going, head scratch moment. You know what? I think I need to know more about what's going on because I'm seeing some bad press on this over here, right? And so that research and stuff is going to lead you to asking questions. So come prepared to the interview with questions written down. And I always recommend to people write down questions in 4 key areas. This is going to help you to be able to turn this more into a conversation rather than them just giving you a litany of questions and you answer them, okay? So the 4 key areas that you want to look at is number 1, questions about the opportunity itself. Number 2, questions about the manager. or the managerial team that you would be under, that you would be working under, okay? The third one is going to be questions about the team. So the team as a whole, just your team, right? And then the fourth one is questions about the company. And then the company can also lead into some questions about the industry too. But those 4 areas are going to make you feel so much more prepared to have a more successful interview, because you're going to be able to ask really good questions. You're going to have them typed up in front of you, okay? Don't think you're going to remember them. Don't do it. Don't set yourself up for failure like that. Prepare ahead of time and write those questions down. Okay, you guys, it makes a huge difference. Promise me, pinky swear with me right now, pinky swear, you're going to write those questions down. 4 areas about opportunity, manager, the team, and the company industry, okay? And I always say write down probably like two or three questions about each of those different areas. Okay, that way you can, when they say, hey, what questions do you have for us? Or as you're just looking at it, and you can even say at the beginning of the interview, you know, I've got some questions prepared. I'm going to glance at this occasionally because I want to make sure through the course of our conversation today, and you don't say through the course of our interview today, but say through the course of our conversation today, that I want to make sure that I really have a good understanding about who you guys are and what this opportunity is all about. They're going to love it, you guys. I promise you, because I have talked to a ton of managers who are on the other side of that table, and they wish people brought good, thoughtful questions. They wish people are doing the research. And it's not happening. It's nuts, isn't it? Right? It's 2019. We have access. I mean, look up, you know, all of us have our smartphones. Like, let's use these things, right? Let's use it for good. Turn off Netflix. Focus on the job search, right? You can do this. You can totally do this. And then here's my fifth secret. Is asking God for help. And here's the thing, you guys. Back in 2017, I had basically would come to Jesus moment. And in the middle of the night, I had what I call 3 a.m. with God moment. And I've been writing things down, right? So I'd write down on basic pads of paper, Post-it notes, whatever. I might have like my journal or something. I'd write down messages, things I get from God. But then I wasn't really following through with it. And so I got this awesome inspiration to create a journal that's called 3 a.m. with God. In fact, I'll show you what it looks like. I've got mine right here. So here's a 3 a.m. with God journal. And this journal is all about writing down inspiration and following through on it. And I've always been a woman of faith, and I have always been somebody who recognizes that there is a higher power in my life and that God is guiding me. And I got more stories than we got time right now about my experience and my travels through my faith and coming to terms with really being a disciple. And for me, when I started realizing, whoa, hold on a second, like there was all this stuff I was doing around 3 a.m. with God and still coaching and everything. And I started realizing, you know what, I need to combine all of this and bring this together. And as I did that, I actually approached Heavenly Father through prayer, and I was fasting as well, and just said, okay, you have brought me through 18 years of doing all of this career development stuff. And I'm feeling very much like I need to be including God into this whole job search equation, and put it out there and just say, God, you know, is this something you want me to do? And I got a resounding yes, like flood waters over my body. Yes, this is what you need to do. So I started doing that. And in my private coaching, through my VIP coaching, through my social media posts, through changing what my podcast is about, through any of my webinars, all this kind of stuff, I'm adding God into the equation, because I know and I recognize that it is a secret variable to having a successful job search equation. You guys, Heavenly Father is aware of you. He wants you. He wants you to come to Him and ask Him for help. Just like any of you who might be listening to this webinar right now, who may have children who are of an age who can do a job search, wouldn't you want your children to come to you and ask for help, right? Or if your parents are alive, wouldn't you go to your mom or your dad and ask them for help? Okay, we do this. And it's wonderful. Turn to Heavenly Father and say, hey, this is where I'm thinking of going. What thoughts do you have? But you can't just on the fly do that when you're driving in the car over to the interview. You got to get grounded and allow for some pondering time. You need to do that for yourself. And also pay attention. And that's where the 3 a.m. with God journal comes into place. Okay, pay attention, because likely you're being awakened in the middle of the night and you're getting inspiration. But if you don't actually wake up, right? So you might hear like the dog barking and it's 2:58 a.m. and you're thinking, I'm going to kill that dog in the morning. I am trying to get some sleep. Well, might I suggest, and I'm going to switch your paradigm on that a little bit, maybe God's using that dog to get you awake. So then you wake up and you realize, oh, wow, okay, I'm awake. It's during these wee hours of the morning, which read the scriptures. There's tons of examples about how prophets are getting inspiration and visions in the middle of the night, right? So if that's happening to you, pay attention, because likely you're getting awakened. He wants to give you advice, and wake up, write it down. And that's why I have the journal. You can write things down in that as well. So, and then take action on what you're being prompted to do. But ask Heavenly Father. He wants to see you be successful. He doesn't want to see you struggle. Okay. He wants to see you be successful to whatever degree that success is, right? Okay. I'm not here to determine that. I don't know. Okay. Through prayer and then through scripture study. Prayer in my a lot of times for me is how I'm communicating to God, and through scriptures is often how I'm getting answers back, and also those quiet pondering times. And so create that and make that part of your job search routine. Allow for some quiet time. So if you've got a house that's crazy and it's just game on like Donkey Kong, I had a client like this. He had 3 crazy little boys. I think they had 3 kids in like 4 years or something like that. And there wasn't a set of twins in there. And he would get up really early in the morning. He would get up an extra hour earlier so that he could have that quiet time before it was crazy in the household. Because once the kids are up, it's just nuts. Okay? So he knew that. So to have that quiet time, he looked at his schedule. He's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And it was easier for him to get up earlier rather than staying up late. That worked for him. So maybe staying up later works for you. But that doesn't mean stay up late and watch the late show and then go do scripture. So, turn off that stinking television, right? Turn it off. You don't need that kind of noise. Right? What you need instead is some good spiritual grounding to guide you and to help you. So that's the 5th secret I want to talk to you about today, is that. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that if this stuff is resonating with you, if you're feeling like you could benefit from some additional support to help you to have a more successful job search, I want to tell you about my Inspired Job Search program. And I'm going to tell you about that. And I want you guys to be thinking about questions as well that are coming up for you, because I'm going to open up the lines and we're going to, if you guys have any questions, I'm totally here. My brain is yours. I'm available to support you. So be thinking about what questions. And I hope that as you've been listening to me and as we've been talking about these key things that you can do, these 5 secrets, that you're realizing and that you're getting that aha moment of, okay, yeah, I can't go interview with that company. I don't even love them. I don't even know what they stand for. Okay, well, schedule the time to do some research, right? Or what's my brand? If they're going to ask me that question of, tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, how do I want to answer that question, right? So I hope some of those key things are standing out for you. And as you're thinking about that, let me share with you this opportunity that I've got for you to, again, get some support for me, some ongoing support that can help you with your job search. And so the Inspired Job Search, it's really a faith-based job search program. It's with me. So there's the foundation of taking advantage of all of my 20 plus years of helping people through seeking and looking for a job, and then adding in the gods. So I call it the God glaze. So I think of like this yummy, beautiful donut, right? Just this cake donut that's just awesome. That's the core of what it is I offer. And then the glaze would be like putting on like the sugar glaze on a donut. That glaze is God. So it makes it even that much more delicious and that much more enjoyable. So let me tell you a little bit about the Inspired Job Search program. So it's a 6-week course that is led live by me via webinar style, and it's recorded. So if for some reason you can't make one of the classes, you get the recordings. The class comes with some awesome, wonderful benefits as well. So the program is only $197, but the total value is worth almost $3,000. So I'm going to show you guys what is included in this. So what you get with it is a private Facebook group. There are the private Facebook group. Let me back up for a second. In that group, So what I do is I do additional trainings periodically. So you have a 6-week course in which every week for 6 weeks, but on top of it, there's additional things that I talk about as well that is in that private Facebook group. So there's Facebook Lives that I do, and then other webinars that are specifically only for the people who are part of the Inspired Job Search program. The job search templates are super powerful because I've had people say to me over the years, like, okay, Jen, I know that you're telling me to figure out my personal brand, but how do I go about doing that? Well, I take you through it, but then I also give you the templates on how to do it yourself. So that way, as you're going through the whole process with me, you can focus on going through the process and not coming up with, well, how are you going to do it, right? So there's a job search templates. And then there's the Inspired Job Search 6-week class with the online access to all of the classes. And then you also get a 3 AM with God journal, because guaranteed, people, you're getting inspiration in your life, not just about your career, but also about your personal life. So let me share with you the prices on this. So $197. The online access to all the classes, that's easily worth $997 because you get access to all of those classes that I teach for free. Excuse me. In the online access, you get access to everything that we talk about, and you have access to for a whole year. So it's a huge amount of value there for you. And then the Facebook group, it's worth $997 because there's training that I do specifically for the Facebook group only. You can't get it other places. And then the job search templates, so instead of you running around spending your time focusing on trying to figure out how you're going to do something, I've figured that out, right? I have worked with thousands of people, and I have awesome templates that make it simple so you can just do what I'm telling you to do, and it'll save you time, because guaranteed, I know what's going on for you guys. If you have a significant other, or if you have kids, or if you have church responsibilities, or if you have stuff that you're doing in the community, kind of civic things, maybe you're volunteering your time and coaching one of your kids' sports teams or whatever, you don't have a ton of discretionary time. So the job search templates will totally help you to cut through all of that. And then the 3 AM with God journal, it's with shipping, taxes, everything, it's $28 value. So the accumulation, the total value here is $28.16. So what I want to do is I want to answer any questions that you guys have. So what I'm going to do for a second here is, let me stop sharing the screen. Okay, I want to answer questions that you guys have. And so please, in the notes, go ahead and answer questions. If you want to raise, hi Scott, I see you. So if you guys want to do anything to ask me any kind of questions, I'm available for you here. So what's on your mind? And don't be afraid, folks. Because if you're thinking it, someone else is probably thinking it too. I'm going to check my email real quick because I remember getting a message from somebody. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Maria says, what if what I think my brand is isn't how other people see me? Ooh, okay. And Scott has another with personal branding. What do you use to help in discovering strengths and career best fit? Okay, let me start with Maria's question first. So Maria, great question. So what if what I think my brand is isn't how other people see me? Then you've got some brand maintenance to do, basically. You've got some reputation management that you need to do. So if you know for sure that other people see you different from how you see yourself, like if you know for sure, like if you've validated that, and Maria, maybe if you can type in there, let me know for sure that you've validated and you've asked people what they think of you, and then you know for sure that it's different. So I'll wait for you to respond to that, but I'm just going to assume that you have validated it. And so, so if you know that's the case and you want to be known as this and other people think of you as this, then you want to make sure that you close the gap. Okay, so Maria put on here, not for sure, just rumors getting back to me. Okay, so in a way it's kind of validated because it's the rumors getting back to you, right? So that's rumor mills. It's like, you know, it's like in sarcasm, there's always an ounce of truth in it, right? Okay, so it's the same thing with rumors. Like there's likely some kind of truth that's in there. So what I would recommend that you do is you can go and ask people directly to tell you what they think about you. So I think this is a great exercise. Ask them to tell you what they think about you, and then also go and look at any of the stuff that people have put in your, like if you've been on a personal improvement plan, if you've, which sometimes has a negative connotation to it, I know, but but that again is going to help you to see what other people think about you, right? Also look at recommendations that you've received from people on LinkedIn, any kind of thank you notes that you've received from clients or vendors or whatever. Look and see what people are saying about you, and then gather all that information. And then when you verify, when you ask people what they think of you, what I'm saying in that regard is, you want to think about, okay, don't just ask friends and family, but also ask people who are who have known you in business circles as well, because you need to have the full 360 view about yourself to get that feedback from people. I'm not suggesting that you go and commission a 360 review. In fact, I kind of don't like 360 reviews. I won't get into it right now, but you can just simply ask people, hey, what do you think of me? What comes to mind? Gather that information. And then again, if what they think of you is really different from what you want to be known for, then you're going to have to really kind of have that come to Jesus moment for yourself to recognize, okay, what people think of me, that's their perception, that's their reality, that is what I am known for. And I don't want to be known for that. Okay, so what am I doing that's causing that? And so then you can start to level set it. And this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It may take you a while to work through that, but you have to know where you're at in order to know where it is that you're going. It's kind of like if I said, okay, everybody, we're going to New York City. How do we get there? Right? Like what's the first thing we do? I don't want you guys to answer. Like if we want to go to New York, like what do we literally do? Go ahead and answer. Okay, I'm not seeing anything in here. So what you do is you start with where you're at, right? Like you can't get to New York if you don't know where you're at right now. So I'm sitting in my house in Layton, Utah. In order for me to get to New York, I could walk there, I could ride a bike, I could drive a car, I could take a train, I could fly, right? There's lots of different options I could take to get there, okay? Now somebody else who's on this could be in a different part of the world where maybe there's an ocean between them and New York as well, right? So maybe another option would take an ocean liner, but they can't ride a bike across the ocean, okay? So you have to know where you're at so that you know if you're trying to get to New York, then you know what it is that you need to do. How are you going to get there, okay? So so then that way you'll know, okay, like this is where I'm at in my brand. If this is how people perceive me, okay, great. Then this is what I need to do to get there. And then let me see, Scott, so you asked a question, with personal branding, what do you use to help in discovering strengths and career best fit? So are you talking about like an assessment tool? Okay, yeah, so my personal favorite is Predictive Index. I think it's very, very powerful. And so a lot of people use StrengthsFinder because they can just go to the store and buy the book. So Predictive Index, it's harder because you have to work with somebody who can take you through that assessment, but it's very, very powerful. It's the main one that I use, and I think it works really good. It gives really great, the reason why I like it is it talks about workplace behaviors, because when it comes to career stuff, like I kind of don't care what your behaviors are at home. I'm more interested in your workplace behaviors. And that's a big piece of it. And so a lot of those assessments don't necessarily look at workplace behaviors. And then once you understand your workplace behaviors, it also helps you to understand what's a best fit for you with your career. So for example, if you're somebody who has historically been in a sales job, and Scott, I don't remember what your work history background is, but let's just say if you've historically been in sales, well, if your workplace behaviors do not really match what is best for a salesperson, you're going to continue to have problems. You're going to continue to hit this wall because you cannot change the stripes, right? If a tiger's got stripes, it's got stripes, right? You can't change, and so you need to just recognize what it is that you're best at. But a lot of people think, oh, I can change, I can do it. Yeah, you can get some skills, you can get some, some training, but who you are naturally, how you come endowed from God with the talents and skills that are really the characteristics you have, it's really, really hard to change that. Okay, and then let's see, Maria, I think the main problem is I have trouble believing the good and find it easy to believe the negative. I believe the label arrogant know-it-all, but have trouble believing the positive, energetic, helpful person willing to share information. Okay. There's a lot in this question here, Maria. I think the main problem is I have trouble believing the good and find it easy to believe the negative. Well, my dear, you might have some stuff you got to work through. I mean, that's some deep-seated, if you don't recognize your worth, there's some stuff there. That's a pretty big conversation. I don't know that we can get into that right now, but that's something you're going to need to take a look at. And he said, I believe the label arrogant know-it-all, but have trouble believing the positive, energetic. Okay. Yeah, for some reason you got some negative stuff that's going on in that that self-talk inside your head, and it's causing you more problems. So take a look at that. I think that you've got some work to do for yourself to be more on the positive side. So oh, and Scott, combining assessments, yeah, sure. I mean, StrengthsFinder is great. I don't have a problem with StrengthsFinder. Myers-Briggs was really established by a couple of women that are therapists. They wanted to know more about their patients. It was really more for therapy. So I don't love that one. It's okay. People use it all the time, but I don't think it's great. So, alrighty. Okay, guys, good questions. So, all right. So what I want to do is I just want to finish this up with you guys here. And I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of, again, this offer here for the Inspired Job Search course. So these are all the things that I showed you. And then I want to make sure that you guys are also aware of the fact that I have a special, so I feel like the people who attend this class that you guys should get, something additional as well. So if you sign up for the Inspired Job Search by midnight tomorrow, which is January 23rd, you're also going to get a one-on-one coaching session with me, which is another $97. So you're going to get all of this stuff here for a total value of $29.13. And only have to pay $197, and you get access to all of that. So I will send a follow-up email that will have the link on where you can register. You'll also get the recording for this as well. So if you want to come back through this and mull through the information as well, it'll make a difference for you. But in the end, the reality is that if you want to have more success with your interviews, more success with your job search, everything overall, I'm here to support you. I've got over 20 years of experience supporting people and making a difference with this. And I am not afraid to bring God into the equation. And he's a fantastic and amazing support who can help us. And I'm seeing it happen with my clients. And I'm so glad that I pivoted toward that and am adding God into it, right? So it is amazing donut. And now I'm adding the glaze of God on top of that. So come join me. And the class starts on Thursday, January 24th. So that's why I'm giving you guys till tomorrow night, January 23rd at midnight, to take advantage of this. And this is not something that is normally part of the program. It's for those who've joined the webinar. So please let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to hearing from you guys. And I wish you well and much success to you for a successful and inspired job search. Thanks, you guys. You're welcome. Thanks, you guys. Take care.